Okay, so what we're looking to do is solve the issue with how to export and annotate information out of a Revit model in a seamless fashion. I think the easiest way to do that is via a shared parameter. So rather than rewrite the narrative or do something like that, let's just run through the process with some real Revit objects. First time around I did it with dumb geometry. This time we'll actually pick some stuff and roll with it. Alright, thank goodness for solid state hard drives. Here we go. So, first thing I like to do typically is just start out with a new project, just something blank. I'll throw a floor at it just because it helps me define the space, and I'm a linear thinker and we like things like that. So, I got my box, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to now drop in some components. I'm going to use my hotkey to load some families. I know there's a big button for it, but I'm lazy. So, down to mechanical equipment, and let's load up an air conditioner, a boiler, and a furnace. So, there's no mechanical equipment tag loaded right now. I'm just going to say no, and we're going to come back to that in a minute. So, boiler, check. Air conditioner, why not? And furnace. Yep, got it. So these three objects by default don't give us any way to export some good information about them other than cannibalizing existing parameters such as the mark field. What I'd like to do is create my own shared parameter. So if you hit the Manage tab, you'll see shared parameters up here. And all you have to do is click on shared parameters and you'll get this. You can see I have an existing shared parameter for the acoustical rating of my walls. That's for some boring construction stuff we won't get into. But what we do want is a new parameter. And I'm going to call it JSN. It's going to be common, and the type is going to be text. Click OK. Click OK again. Very cool. Nothing's changed. What we need to do is take each one of these families and go up here and hit Edit Family. Once we've done that, we go over to the family types. I'm going to add a new parameter. It's going to be a shared parameter. It's going to be that JSN we just created. I'm going to group it under identity data because that's a good spot for it. I'm going to call it an instance parameter because the JSN, I'm just guessing here, changes based upon which air handler or which VAV or which boiler, which furnace, etc. it's attached to. It's like the barcode, it's the individual serial number that your owner's tracking. So it's not attached to that type of equipment, but rather that individual piece. So there we go. Identity data initially collapsed. There it is, the JSN by default, no value. I'm happy. I click OK. And at this point what I like to do is save it. I'm just going to toss it on the desktop, and I'm going to give it the prefix or suffix rather of JSN. That saves me from getting confused over what I'm doing and rewriting default families in Revit, which sometimes can make you scratch your head when you go back there and something's different, not behaving the way you expected. There it is. We hit save. It's all done, and I load it into the project. So here I go. I've got a boiler that looks just like the other boiler, except you can see it's saying JSN. Put that over there. Now we're done. Now for the sake of sanity, what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss a wall in here. That's going to be my little divider. And on this other side, I'm going to toss in some text. I'm going to call these the non-JSN default families. Over here. There we go. So now we're going to move on to the air conditioner. I'm going to edit this family. Once again, I'm going right up here. I'm going to add a new parameter. It's going to be a shared parameter. I'm going to select it, the JSN, group it under identity data, instance parameter, click OK again, file, save it as a new family, JSN, and off we go. Load it back into my project. Now I've got a JSN on that side, JSN, and the only thing left is my furnace. Edit the family on the furnace. Go up to my types, add in a new parameter. Hopefully this is getting repetitive. Identity data, make it an instance, click OK again, file, save as family, pop it onto the desktop, JSN, save. Load it into the project, and there we go. So that's great, but now there's two key components here. You want to be able to have that category put into a schedule, and at the same time you want the actual geometry to tell you what's going on. So if we go to this elevation view, we can see the equipment. So on the left, these are the normal, and these are the JSNs that we've modified. And just because I really dislike unconstrained walls, I'm going to align that with level 2. But now what we want to do is we want to take this and we want to annotate it. We want to be able to label these guys. So I'm going to go here and we're going to tag by category. This message again, there's no mechanical equipment tag loaded. Yes, I do want to load one. Annotations, mechanical equipment tag. Okay, now we got it. 1, 2, 3. So there's no JSN information in here. What I want to do is go back to our old friend, Edit Family, and I'm going to select this label right here, and I'm going to hit Edit Label. And you can see these are all the categories we have to choose from that we could add into the label. The mark, that's essentially just a default value. It's an instance parameter, so it can change from one piece of equipment to another. But what I want is I want the type mark, since maybe you're just going to call them all AHU 4, or AHU 1 or VAV type 2. And then we're going to want that JSN category. So you can see what I did is just click down here. This is add a parameter. It's only letting me choose a shared parameter this time. And there's our old friend, the JSN. So now we can add it, put it right down at the bottom. I'm actually just going to go like this. I'm going to pull that mark field right out of there. Click OK. That's pretty looking. File. I'm going to save this one as a new type of tag just on the desktop and load it into the project. Very cool. So nothing's changed because these are all the old types. Now I'm going to change it down to that JSN type. So you can see the type mark. We could make this I don't know, just call it A. Yep, a type parameter, so all the types are going to change, and then the JSN not going to let me do it because that parameter isn't built into the family. So on the flip side, if we go over here, you can see I can change that to A, so it's changing a type parameter. Whoop, duplicate marks, call it A1 8675309. Why not? That's cool. call this AC1. Yep. And the JSN here is going to be something crazy, right? This is what? It's a furnace. I'm just choosing this stuff. I got no idea what you really want to put in there. So now we've got all that information in there. What we can do is we can go over to View. We can create a schedule. Mechanical equipment schedule. And we're going to choose family and type. There's our JSN. It's just there by default. How cool is that? Level. Maybe the mark. I really don't know what you'd want the mark there for, but move that down. Maybe we're going to group it by level, then by the family and type, and the mark, then the JSN, because the JSN is obviously going to be unique. This is what it creates by default. So we can go in here, right inside the schedule. Boom. Everything's updated. And that is how to make a shared parameter that will drive a schedule which you can export, and also your annotation with a label.